Okay, sorry that cut out. I wanted to correct what I was wrong. It's not count count to 60 and multiply by 10. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, there's two formulas. You can find your pulse with your fingertips, and you can count the number of beats in 10 seconds and then multiply that number by 6, or you can count the number of beats in 15 seconds and multiply that by 4. It was throwing me off because I knew that I had to get to a minute, and I knew I had to count a specific amount of beats and then do a multiplication to get to the number 60, which would, equate to a minute. But off the top, and I knew I was running out of time, I knew I was wrong. So I wanted to correct that. I also wanted to explain the overtraining with the resting heart rate in the morning. Once, um, sorry, once you are, after, a month of training, a few weeks, I would say, a few weeks, a month of training, or once you notice every morning you're waking up and your resting heart rate is stable. Like when I wake up, I haven't checked in a while, but last time I checked, my resting heart rate is around 35, sometimes to 45 beats per minute just sitting. If I'm up walking around and I sit down and I check it, it's in the 60s. Usually when I first wake up and I've checked it, it's been 35, 36 beats per minute. So now, if I check that for a week and say it's 38 beats per minute every time I wake up, and then I start training harder, and then, I wake up and my heart rate, say, is up 10 beats per minute, that is an indication of overtraining, that something might not be right. The same would go for if my heart rate was lower. That could actually be more issues than overtraining as well. So you always, when you're working out and stressing your heart, it is a good idea. I mean, I'm guilty. I don't do it, but it is a good idea to know where your base heart rate is upon rest, upon awakening, so you know where you're at without doing anything, and then where you're at when you're just moving around doing your daily activities of living. And then obviously what you're doing in your workouts. So that way, if you wake up and all of a sudden, you're for a month or two, you're waking up with say a 40 beat or say a 60 beat per minute pulse, and then all of a sudden, it shoots or it drops. Well, then now there might be something in the training to look at. You might be pushing it too hard. And it's kind of cool because say you're at a resting heart rate of 90 beats per minute, and then say you start doing cardio and then you notice you're at a resting heart rate of 80 or 79 or 78, and then you see, wow, it's going down. That's pretty cool, because obviously you want your resting heart rate. Sometimes I get a little concerned, is 38, 39, 35 beats per minute, safe when you think about, I mean, that is kind of low. They say when you work out a lot, that's a normal range, but in my opinion, I mean, I would probably want to see it a little bit higher. But, everybody has a different philosophy. Your physiology is your physiology. As long as you go to your routine checkup by the clown and, get your EKGs and get your blood panels and all that good stuff, you know where you're at. I've been at the emergency room a few times, and, they look at me and my heart rate's 40. And I'm just sitting there. I'm in the hospital, and I'm like, I work out. I do tons of cardio. I work out 7 days a week. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the reason. Probably thinking, here's this guy in the emergency room where most people are nervous and whatnot. I'm more nervous about the germs in the hospitals, and from whatever they're touching to touching me to people being around. It's like an asylum, in my opinion. Can't stand being in there. But yeah, I just wanted to correct that, and I don't like leaving things wrong. So I wanted to go back while the video was loading and just hop on Google and just make sure, what I was saying was correct, because, I have the books, but they're, 9 years old. So I'd rather just, Google it. A lot of times I'll go to the book too, the NASM, training manual, but the same information's on online that you get there. So, and like I said, slow progressions, and do what's comfortable and do what feels right. And thank you again for listening. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And God bless, universally bless, and greatness to everybody out there. Appreciate it all. Thank you so much.